Hi everyone, today's topic is rotations. As a reminder, you do not need to write down everything that we'll cover in this video, but be sure to jot down important information and at least one example of each type of problem that we'll cover. Also remember that you can pause to jot down important notes, rewind to view information again, and fast forward if you think you got it. Just be careful and make sure you don't fast forward too much that you end up missing out on something important. As a review, rotations are when you turn a point or figure around a point of rotation. We were using an elbow as an example of a rotation in your body. Your kneecap is also an example of rotation. So when you rotate your elbow, you'll see that the palm of your hand is changing in location. It's either further away from you or closer to you. And the orientation, if you look at the palm of your hand, it's either open upwards towards your face or even downwards if you rotate your elbow all the way so that your hand is on your shoulder. Some tips when performing rotations is to remember that 90 degrees creates an L shape. So if you are rotating 180 degrees, that would be like two L shapes. So you can use those L shapes to kind of help you measure 90 degrees. And then obviously 45 degrees would be like half of an L shape. So that's a good way to measure degrees easily, at least visually. The other tip is to make sure that the distance from your point of rotation stays the same. So kind of like when you use your elbow to rotate your hand in different orientations, your hand is always going to be the same distance away from your elbow. It's never going to get, closer or further away from your elbow. And thirdly, the orientation is also going to turn clockwise or counterclockwise. So we're going to go through an example of what that looks like later. But be sure to pause the video and jot down these tips. All right, so here is our demonstration of rotation. So remember, your object is also going to change its orientation based on that direction that you're going in. And just like what we were talking before, the L shape right here is going to track every 90 degrees. So that's 90 degrees. And then a straight line would be like two L's next to each other. So that's another 90 degrees, which is 80 degrees. And notice this whole time that the orientation, this line right here, is changing. It's turning with the rotation. So this longer side of the triangle is also turning in its orientation. Let's try some problems on Khan Academy now. In this problem, they said that point Q was rotated about the origin, 0, 0, so that's our point of rotation, by 180 degrees. Go ahead and pause this video and see if you can try it on your own first. So point Q is this blue point right here, and then the orange ones are your choices. So you can either choose between A, B, C, or D. I'm going to go ahead and put a point at my origin, 0, 0, because that's my point of rotation. And I'm going to draw a line. So this is kind of like my elbow and my arm, and this is my hand that I'm trying to rotate. I'm going to rotate by the origin, 0, 0, by 180 degrees. Remember, 90 degrees is equal to an L. So 180 degrees would be like two L's next to each other. So it's going to actually make a straight line. So let's go ahead and do that here. My first L is right here. It's a backwards L, but it's still an L. So moving here would be 90 degrees. So the answer is not A. A only moved 90 degrees. Let's move another L so that we can move 180 degrees. 90 plus 90, 180. So our answer is either B or C. D is definitely out because that did not rotate. Remember, rotating means that you are turning. So along this path, D was canceled out. It didn't rotate at all. It did more like a translate. A was only 90 degrees, so we're down to B and C. Remember, one of the tips we had to remember was that the length is maintained. So this length was 1, 2, 3, 4 units away from the point of origin, or sorry, the rotation point. So the answer should also be 4 point spaces away. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer is B. C is too far away. C would be like if D did a 180 degree rotation. B is the 180 rotation for Q. So the answer is B. Okay, so that's how you rotate points. Just 90 degrees for each of the L's. You can do one more there to practice. Okay, here they do not give you a coordinate plane, so you're going to have to draw yourself some lines. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. All right, for this one they said that point P is rotated by 90 degrees clockwise. So remember, an L shape is 90 degrees, and then clockwise you have to think about the way that a clock moves. So a clock is going to go in this direction because the numbers go in this direction. So that's clockwise. So you're going, kind of to the right and down. Counterclockwise would be the opposite direction the clock would go. So it would be like up and to the left. All right, so let's go ahead and try this, and it's about the center of rotation shown. So as always, I'm going to draw a line between my center of rotation and my point P. And then they said they want to go clockwise. So remember, a clock goes in this direction, and they only want to go 90 degrees. So I'm going to draw an L to make that 90 degrees. B is more like 50 degrees because it's not quite an L. Remember, an L has a straight edge there. So it looks like our answer is A. Okay, so don't be scared if there isn't a coordinate plane there. You're still following the same directions. And then if you notice, the other problem didn't give us clockwise or counterclockwise, and that's because it's 180 degrees. 180 degrees is 2 L shapes. So if I started here and I wanted to go 180 degrees counterclockwise, I would end up right here. But if I also went clockwise, I would also end up there because L shape would also end me up over there in the same spot. So 180 is just the same whether clockwise or counterclockwise because it's just going to be on the opposite side. So if they don't give you clockwise or counterclockwise, it just means it doesn't matter in that problem because it wouldn't matter in either direction. You're still going to end up at the same place. Okay, so that's rotating points. The other type of problem that they can give you is determining rotation. So that's where the rotation has already been performed and we have to figure out what happened. So here they said that triangle A prime, B prime, C prime, so this one, that means it's the newer image, is the image of the original ABC under the rotation about the origin 0, 0. Choose all answers that apply. So there's going to be more than one answer here. Is it going to be 90 degrees clockwise, 90 degrees counterclockwise, 180, remember it doesn't matter if it's clockwise or counterclockwise for that one, or 270 degrees clockwise? go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve it on your own first. Okay, so I'm going to first of all ignore my answers because sometimes it can be kind of a trap. If you look at the answers first, it's going to make you feel like you already know what the answer is. So do it on your own without looking at the answers. This one right here, as we said, is the old one, the original, and this one right here is the new one. So I also want to make sure I label that correctly because if not, I can probably make some mistakes. So my old one, let me just go ahead by, again, coloring in the point of rotation. That's the origin, 0, 0. And I'm going to connect it to any point. Okay, I'm just going to choose one point. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose B, so I'm going to connect A and B together. And then I'm also going to connect A and B prime together. That's very important. I don't want to connect A and B and then also connect A and C. Then I'm comparing different things. The original B point then changed to B prime. So I want to make sure I'm comparing the same points on that shape. Now when I'm doing that, I can better figure out what actually happened. So I started here and then I ended up over there. So the first clue that I get is the direction. Is this the direction that a clock would go in, or is it the opposite direction of a clock? This is the direction of a clock, so it's clockwise. I already got that figured out. And then I need to figure out my L's. So this is 1L, so that's 90 degrees clockwise. It went clockwise and 90 degrees. However, it said choose all answers that apply. So that makes me want to, first of all, choose my answer. And then I want to double check and make sure that none of the other ones also work. Oh, I had another answer down there. Now, if it's 90 degrees clockwise, that already eliminates, let me write down my choices. That eliminates 90 degrees counterclockwise, because counterclockwise would mean that it ends up over here. It's in the other direction. So that's gone. Those two are not the same. So if I have 90 degrees clockwise, that eliminates counterclockwise. 180 degrees would be another L. So it would end up over here. So that one's out as well. That's too far out. And then the 90 degrees counterclockwise is in the wrong direction. So now I'm left with 270 degrees clockwise and then counterclockwise. So let me go ahead and put that up here. And let me test that out. So remember, my original B started here. 270 degrees is how many 90s? Well, let's double check that. What's 270 divided by 90? That's 3 of them. Not 30, but 3 of them. So 3 L's. So I'm thinking to myself, is there a way I could have gotten from here to there by using 3 L's instead? So let's see. If it looks like there's 3 L's here. This way, moving this way, it would have been 90 counterclockwise. Another would have been 90 counterclockwise. And another would have been 90 counterclockwise. So that looks like it's 270 degrees counterclockwise. So it looks like E could have also worked. So basically what I'm saying is we went from here to there. We could have gotten there 90 degrees clockwise, or we could have gotten there the opposite direction and have gone 207 degrees counterclockwise. So either forwards once or the long way backwards 3 times. So these two are actually the same. 90 degrees clockwise is the same as 270 degrees counterclockwise. They're just going in different directions. The shortcut way forwards or the long ways backwards will still get you there. Because remember, it's a circle. So there's 2 different ways that you can turn. So this answer has two solutions, or this problem has two solutions. Okay, so that's the only thing you have to be careful about in these problems, is that sometimes there will be more than one answer, and so drawing this out with your L's will help you out. Let me know if you have any questions as you answer these problems, and I'll be seeing you in class.